Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
And this is episode 36 of Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, but it is chapter 1 of Deep Blue Sea 2. We said we'd never do it. We said it wouldn't happen, and yet here we are doing it. And as yet, we don't fully regret the decision yet. We'll see.
I love this movie. This is going to be a wonderful 11 chapters. We're going to have a good time talking about this movie. I've been back exploring it, and there's a lot of stuff to chat about, so I'm super stoked to do this.
Yes, and we are not doing it on our own. We'll have some guests. We have a guest for you this week. The first guest we had when we covered Chapter 2 of Deep Blue Sea he has returned for Chapter 1 of Deep Blue Sea 2. He was the greatest guest we've ever had then.
At the time.
But he's the best guest we've had to discuss Deep Blue Sea 2 from French Show Sunday. It's Nick Rehak.
Hey,
Nick, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back, man.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question?
Ask away.
Okay, so in the beginning of this film, which I really love in Deep Blue Sea 2, there are two shark
keep
finners.
telling yourself that.
There's two shark finners, which I love that this film tackles shark finning because, 100 million sharks, according to, National Geographic, varying numbers are killed each year for their fins, and they go around the world. They're part of shark fin soup. I don't want to get into that. But there's two shark finners. There's one named Kwame, and then there's other one named Ruangari. Now, here's the thing, Nick. We talked about this on Deep Blue Sea about Uncut Giamatti and how Paul Giamatti was in a deleted scenes of Deep Blue Sea, and he just wanted to get his boys back because he was Coast Guard. Now, Paul Giamatti is Kwame in this situation, right? He's one of the shark finners. What other actor would you like to see join Paul Giamatti in this boat to take over for these two guys, Mark Hyland and Tamer Burjak? So, Paul Giamatti is a shark finner. Who would be great working with him on this boat? If you could replace these two with Paul Giamatti and somebody, Nick, who would you put?
Now, are we doing same kind of mannerisms, or it's their own style, their own unique style that they're bringing to this?
They are using a Boston accent.
And you can't have Mark Wahlberg.
No.
I wouldn't dare have Mark Wahlberg. You know what? He's been, I don't know why, but he's been on my mind a whole lot lately, and that's Paul Dano.
Okay, that's a dynamic.
I don't understand why, but I really like him. I rewatched Prisoners lately. Not the best ad for him, but
well, these guys are villainous. So.
Roger Deakins' cinematography in Prisoners is jaw-dropping.
It's class A. There's a reason he's got a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, beautiful. And Dano has joined him before, which you probably listened to. Yeah.
I'll have to. Just learning of this podcast now.
Yeah, his cinematography in Sicario. Pretty much everything. Assassination of Jesse James. Oh my gosh, Joe
Blade
Dirt.
Runner 2049.
Yeah, just wonderful.
But yeah, so on fleek.
So you're taking Paul Giamatti and Paul Dano with Boston accents as shark finners.
Yeah, because I think Paul Dano has those eyes, right? Yeah. Where he's sympathetic to what's going on, and he kind of knows it's not right, but he also knows what fuels him, and he knows what he has to do in order to get the job done. And he lets that override the innocence inside, and he conveys that with just his eyes. So imagine what he can do with the rest of his body. You know what I mean?
So is he playing the Kwame role, the guy who, when they get the message of the orange smoke, he's like, maybe we should go back. We need to be done.
I think we do a Danny Boyle Frankenstein, and every time they cut away and cut back, they play the different roles.
Okay.
Wow.
And we just keep going back, so you never really know who is who.
But here's the thing. Giamatti has to wear the same sweater played by Mark Hyland, Ruangari, the big guy. And I want Paul Giamatti to wear a huge sweater in this scene.
Well, he's got to. I mean, they're clearly off a tropical coast.
South Africa.
It's so bright. Why are they wearing those sweaters?
Well, no, it was winter during that time. It was really cold during the filming of this. So I watched the making of, and the water was freezing during the time. So they actually put them in those jackets because it was cold outside.
Okay, well, I'll take that then. I rescind my comment.
Who falls off a boat?
Festive, though.
Who falls off a boat? Okay, Paul Giamatti or Paul Dano, what's their fallout? Like, they get bumped by the bull sharks in this, who dug a hole. Oh, we can't talk about that yet. So the bull sharks, we don't even know they're bull sharks yet, but they knock both these guys off their boats. They do a whoa, and they fall. Who does the better fall, Paul Dano or Paul Giamatti?
I think it's from a safety standpoint, I think it's Giamatti. He's older, he's got the experience, he knows what to do. Dano, again, it's that innocence in his eyes. He's really never been in a situation where he's got to fall over, so he's going to flop a little bit more and maybe, land in a way where it stings, you know what I mean? And the water kind of splashes everywhere, whereas Giamatti's like safety first, and he kind of does like a tuck and roll into the water, cutting away, you know what I mean, from the current, kind of like a safety dive.
Who uses their hips more and who uses more of their shoulders to portray their falling?
I think Dano is going to dip in with the hips, and Giamatti is going to go in the other way.
Got it. I see it. I see it right in my head right now. Man. And so there's a deleted scene in this for Deep Blue Sea 2.
There is.
Did you watch the deleted scene, Jay?
Yeah, and I sent it to Nick as well.
It's
he
beautiful.
did send it to me, but I wasn't sure at what part of the movie it was for, so I didn't put my eyes on it.
Well,
should I watch it real quick?
It's very short. It's very dumb.
I love it. So Ruangari, he tells Kwame to take a selfie because they're shark finning. And it's illegal. You don't want to post those online.
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. Like, why would you do that?
Web. Yep, the dark web. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe that's his Christmas card this year. I don't know. It could be for personal use.
Yeah.
He is festive.
That's a great point. Christmas cards from Kwame.
They're gonna Photoshop that triangular shark's fin into a Santa hat.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. Or just grouper.
Maybe all these shark fins are presents. I mean, probably not.
You're right.
Probably not. I'm not trying to make these guys good guys. They're not. These guys are scum.
Mark, I have to agree with you. I think it is kind of a dark web Silk Road thing where it's like, hey, guess what, fellas? Fresh product coming in, and everyone's like, oh hell yeah, Kwame's got the good stuff.
So yeah, the deleted scene is Ruangari. It's his demise, and as he lands on the bottom of the sea, having lost all of his limbs, the phone just drops down. Is it next to him or next to his arm? I forget.
It falls next to his arm.
Next to his arm, and you see the selfie they took of the two of them on the phone, and that's it.
Beautiful.
See, the only thing with that is they would have to zoom all the way into that, hit you with the title, and then hit you with you just have to go right into the film. I don't think you could have your 007 quasi title sequence and then go into it. Like, you'd have to just boom, here's what's happening. Let's keep the tension, let's keep the danger up instead of taking a break to watch a presentation from the creative director of an aquarium. You know what I mean?
Yeah. These sharks did that on purpose, though. They finned him and let him sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Great.
I wrote that down, too. I wrote sharks finned the humans.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's poetic justice. It's dramatic irony.
It's a shame he's not trying to thrash with his stumps. That's all it's missing. I want him to... Because it seems like he's already dead.
See, if it was Giamatti, he would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giamatti would have been throwing his hips, his shoulders, his arms, his legs.
But not his arms and
legs. Knees and toes.
Severely missing in the toes and the knees at that point. But,
I really love Dano's Phantom Limbs. But no, it's okay. It's very jarring, but I like the authenticity of these characters. They're shooting off the coast of South Africa. So there's some authenticity to these guys. Both these guys are stuntmen. So if you look through their filmography, they've done stunts in a lot of the films that have shot there in South Africa. So Bloodshot, which I'm going to do a year anniversary episode for that soon on Movies, Films, and Flicks. They were both on Bloodshot. So these are two stunty guys that they just gave quick roles to.
They're both in Dread and Tomb Raider as well. They've worked together a bunch, these two.
Yeah, I mean, they're big dudes. And you recognize a lot of them in their films. And I think they just got thrown a quick bone. They probably did some good gags falling off the boat. You don't have to hire stuntmen because they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I like the authenticity of them. That was good. I like that these two guys were just unrepentant shark murderers. And they were kind of bro-y. And
they call each other my brother as well, so they're leaning to that. My brewer. It's the kind of the Afrikaans for my brother.
Yeah, blue.
Yeah, and then like there's a little bit of a controlling relationship where Kwame's really like, no, wait, Ruin Gary is going at Kwame about being a wimp. I hate saying that word that they use.
He uses worse words.
Yeah, but there's a dynamic between them. They're gonna go on the dark web. That makes me like them more.
Yeah.
And they got buyers. I love Nick's impersonation of it. Like, Kwame's got the goods.
Yeah, he's got the good. And that's like, well, I'm going to be there. What disappoints me, though, as someone who has fished for sharks, caught sharks, and then eaten said sharks, you're ruining shark meat. If you get a good, just tender piece of shark and you're throwing it on the grill, they don't know what they're missing out on. Like, yeah, they're doing fins and stuff, but shark meat is where it's at. Like, if you ever have the chance, do it. Like, it is delicious. Legal shark meat, of course. I'm not saying we're out there poaching and stuff. Like, these are all, legal Virginia certified, but it is rather delicious and they're missing out.
I love shopping at fins and stuff. It's where I get all of my fins and most of my stuff.
Brother. It's a good, in the first Deep Blue Sea, you get the subversion of expectations where the 4 teens live. And this one, the dirtbags, they get murdered. And it makes a bit of a statement on shark finning. At least they dropped that message in a film, which is nice. I think they did a little bit of that in the Meg, too. But I'm not sure. But at least it's good.
Yeah, I think it's also a two-pronged message. Because even before that starts, right, you got that guy way off on the other side saying, hey, if you see the smoke, you're in danger. And they knew they were in danger, and they said, like, no, we're not in danger. They were told again, you're in danger. They're like, no, we're not. And then before it was too late, they found out. So now everybody else that's like, hey, I got an idea. They're like, oh, hold on. Have you seen Deep Blue Sea 2? And they're like, you mean the documentary about anti-shark finning? And they're like, I'm going to have to now.
Yeah. Oh, man.
The shot where they fall off the boat is glorious in its Star Trek-ness of the camera shaking, but the boat clearly not moving. And the two guys just doing a nice pirouettes as they leap off the boat. And they've, considering nothing is hitting the boat, they are synchronized quite well in their reaction.
They're stunties. They're graceful. They know what they're doing.
But the camera is all over the place. The camera is really trying to simulate we're on the water, we're bobbing, we're in the waves.
It's frantic.
It's pitching and rolling all over the shop.
Sometimes I worry about. Sometimes I think stuntmen are almost too acrobatic in the way they fall. So you're watching a movie about 2 guys who have never fought before street fighting, and it looks like a ballet when normally it just looks like 2 out of breath people windmilling. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
So it's like I was a bouncer for years. I've never seen a movie fight. I mean, I get movie logic, but yeah, you're right, Jay. Those are some really beautiful falls that they had. That's what happens when you hire a stunt person.
Yeah.
You get the goods. You don't get you get Kwame level shark fin. Like you don't get non-Kwame level shark fin.
That's right, Nick.
I don't know where to go with that.
No, but listen, it's a decent way to start this film. So directed Darren Scott did it. It was written by Hans Robianoff, who did a lot of the Lost Boys sequels, and then Eric Patterson, Jessica Scott. Bring in a couple stunties who are shark finning and they get killed. It's a good way. I like it. This movie starts off on a high note.
Yeah, we said in last week's show we're going to find some positive things to talk about in this film that has a 3.4 on IMDb and a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. We're going to find the positives that all these reviewers missed, and this opening is great. It's a good way to kick things off. And I loved, Nick, that you said it was a James Bond-esque opening title, because it absolutely is. But they have what would have been a great transition of the body of Ruin Gary sinking down, bleeding for all the stumps, and then if they'd cut from that to keeping it all underwater, then to having our lead female, Danielle Savra, Dr. Misty Calhoun, let's go with her character name, swimming with the various creatures.